Creepypastas. They scare you when you're a little kid, but when you grow older, they're just kinda so bad it's good stories written by edgy 14-year-olds on 4chan in 2009 to laugh at. Or at least that's my relationship with them. And there are two Pokemon-related creepypastas that gave me hundreds of sleepless nights, and we are talking about them today. Those creepypastas are Lost Silver and Buried Alive. I'll start with Lost Silver since that was the one I saw first. This story originates from a 4chan thread on June 6, 2010, and yep, it's dropping the F slur on the second sentence. Anyway, it's about this college student who bought a used Pokemon Silver from GameStop for only $10, holy crap. But it's apparently a hacked game, and it starts in this closed-off room of the Sprout Tower. The player's name is just ... There's no music, and the Pokemon don't have any cries. In the party, there are 5 unknown, and a level 5 Cyndaquil with 1 HP named Hurry. Hurry only knew Leer, and Flash. The unknown spelled out leave. After a bit of wandering around, the guy finds the exit behind the pillar and is taken to a dark room that's lit up by Hurry's flash. The music playing is the infamous unknown radio music. It's a blood-red room with a gray path leading south, and eventually this guy reaches a sign. He talks to it, and the text reads, "Turn back now." He's then prompted to answer yes or no, and the guy chooses yes. Hurry faints, and the guy checks his trainer card. The player character's arms are gone. Party has changed to now have 6 unknown that spell out, "He died." Yes, I, as a stupid 7-year-old, thought that the sentence, "he died," was the scariest thing I had ever seen. He's now in a small room surrounded by graves, and after a bit of walking around, he falls down into hell. Now the player character's sprite is white, and checking the trainer card, his arms and legs are missing, and he has blood coming out of his eyes. At least it's not hyper-realistic blood. Now the party has 5 unknowns that spell dying, as well as a level 100 shiny Celebi with only half of its sprite that only knows one move. Perished song. He walks up for a while and finds NPCs that don't have any dialogue. Eventually, he finds the chopped off section of the pillar and needs a transparent red, and without pressing A, the guy is in a fight. The music is the unknown radio music, but this time it's being played backwards. Truly the scariest thing in existence. Red sends out a level 255 Pikachu with a sad sprite, and the guy sends out the Celebi because all of his other Pokemon were sent to the Shadow Realm. Celebi uses Perish Song, and after that, the battle continues without any input from the player. The Pikachu then uses Frustration, which knocks Celebi down to less than 10 HP. Celebi then uses Pain Split. Pikachu uses Mean Look, and the Perish counter hits 0, and the text reads, instead of fainting, "Celebi has died." Pikachu uses Destiny Bond, and now he's also dead. Transparent Red shows up again, but this time he's missing his head. How freaking terrifying. Now the player's in the house, and this time his sprite is transparent, just like Red's. Now the unknowns spell out, "No more." On the trainer card, the sprite is the same as the last time, but this time it's only his head. The guy attempts to leave the house, but he just continues walking into the void until he reaches what looks like the normal player character sprite. He talks to it, and it says, "Goodbye forever." The sprite disappears, and text shows up that reads, "? Use Nightmare." The character then descends into hell yet again. Now we're back in the graveyard room. This time the player is completely gone, so all the guy can do is check the trainer card and Pokemon yet again. This time his sprite is completely gone, and all of the images of the gym leaders are skulls. Now the unknown spell out, "I'm dead." Then the final text box shows up and reads, "RIP ... Then the game shuts off automatically. Apparently this has like a Johann Lieber core message about how even after Gold's efforts, he was eventually forgotten, and so his life was ultimately insignificant, but like, it's Pokemon Lost Silver. You are not convincing me there is any deeper theme or meaning to this. The story is not scary, like, in the slightest, but to my stupid 6 or 7-year-old self, this was the most horrifying thing in existence. I'm not even joking when I say that this is my introduction to the concept of human death. I wish I was lying. I just find it insane that I thought the phrase, "I'm dead, no spaces, no apostrophe," was the scariest thing ever. This story is so stupid, but I, along with many other stupid 7-year-olds, were absolutely terrified by the story within the 15 years since it's been written. Now I want to briefly talk about another more obscure creepypasta called Abandoned Loneliness. I saw this video immediately after Lost Silver, and for years I could not find it again, and I honestly, for the longest time, misremembered it as being a remake of Lost Silver and Leaf Green. But no, it's its own creepypasta. I specifically remember the very end of this video where the trainer card is missing the player character's sprite, and the overworld sprite is just a red face, as well as a sign, where at the end it says, RIP. And I think that's what made me misremember it as a Lost Silver remake for the longest time. The whole story is about the death of this EV named Loneliness, and it's more sad than it is scary. Basically, Red killed Blue's Raticate, Blue is mad, so he abandons Loneliness, and it comes to Leaf to become her friend, but Blue lied to Leaf, and so Leaf murdered Loneliness, and this puts a curse on her, and she dies, and now rest in peace, Loneliness. I do actually really like what the story's going for. The issue is that it's Pokemon. Like, how do you expect me to take this seriously? Same thing with Lost Silver. I mean, if you were a stupid 7-year-old like I was, I'm sure, but like, what about anyone above the age of 10? So, though, I would be lying if I said I didn't like the story of abandoned loneliness, so maybe I just have awful standards. 1 like plus 1 comment equals 1 happy EV, give me my fake internet points. This video scared me more than Lost Silver. The origin of this creepypasta is unknown, so I'm going to use the infamous video by 7G06, which is also the specific video that scared me. However, the description of this video does actually credit the artist of the buried alive, white hand, and game over sprites everyone associates with the creepypasta. It starts off with them just in the Pokemon Tower with no Silph Scope, and they use a Pokédoll to run away from the ghost. Then they walk up to the gravestones, and it says, "You're here. I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me?" And I was terrified of being alone or lonely because of this video for years. And now they're in a fight with what looks like a skeleton named Buried Alive. Judging by the appearance, it seems to be a decaying body that was, as the name suggests, buried alive. He's got a white hand, a creature from another creepypasta. When I first saw this video, I didn't know it was fake, and I didn't watch it all the way through to the scary part, so I tried getting Buried Alive on my Pokemon Fire Red, but was disappointed. Eventually, I watched the entire video, and eventually the player loses to Buried Alive's level 101 white hand, and Buried Alive says, "Finally, raw meat," and then skip to this time frame if you're easily triggered by unsettling imagery. Okay, time's up. You get this image of Buried Alive consuming the player, and because it's in black and white, it honestly looks much creepier than the other version with a white background with text that says "Game Over." I, being the stupid 7-year-old I was absolutely mortified of this video. I had a nightmare about it one time, and then I lost many hours of sleep because of it. Just this image was terrifying to me. I didn't even fully know how to read, so it wasn't the fact the guy's name was Buried Alive, which now thinking about it sounds really stupid. In fact, I misread it as Burned Alive at the time. I'm not sure if that's better or worse. But just this image. I clicked off the video immediately after seeing it, so I didn't even hear the slowed down, reversed Lavender Town music playing in the background. This image would haunt me for years. I had assumed that this was real, and that after defeating the Marowak ghost, if you went back up, the graves would be there and Buried Alive would fight you. And after this screen ended, it would then transition to Lost Silver, as if Buried Alive was getting murdered, and Lost Silver was what the player saw before they died. Yeah, can you tell I only watched the YouTube walkthroughs and never read the original creepypastas? But I don't know how I thought this was real, because as you can see, the text box randomly changes to the Gen 2 text border whenever Buried Alive is speaking, as well as there being no transition between the overworld and the battle against Buried Alive. I'm disappointed in you, 7-year-old Meowcats TV. Anyway, now let's talk about this Pokemon Leaf Green remake someone did in 2016. You know, this is actually a pretty good remake of the original. Oh wait, what is that? Get it off my screen. Oh, I hate that so much. And you didn't even bother to do the raw meat part. Seriously? What's even the point then? These videos actually made me afraid to interact with the horror genre at all for years, but then I played Yume Nikki, and now all 3 of the videos I've made on this channel so far have unintentionally been about horror media. Seeing as I've dipped my toes into it, feel free to suggest me more psychological horror media you would recommend me check out in the comments. Also, I did know about Lavender Town Syndrome, but I didn't feel like dedicating an entire segment to it since it didn't scare me on the same level as Lost Silver and Buried Alive. Anyway, thanks for watching my brief stupid video about how I was a stupid 7-year-old. Like this video and comment so I get fake internet points.